Right now, it's time for the Way Black History Fact. So, today's Way Black History Fact, we're going to talk about the first woman to fly for a major U.S. commercial airline. First African-American woman. Today's Way Black History Fact is sponsored by Underground Beach Club. From the streets to the beach, for the latest in beachwear, visit undergroundbeachclub.com. All right. First off, I'm going to share from abstop.com. Jill Elaine Brown was receiving her wings in 1978 as the first African-American female pilot to fly a major U.S. commercial airline. Ms. Brown, then 28, was one of 6 women to graduate in a class of 38 pilots from the Texas International Airlines training program. Her interest in aviation, however, like those black female pioneers before her, began in her formative years. Brown began flying at the age of 17 when she and her parents, Gilbert and Elaine Brown, undertook the project as a hobby. Quote, "Daddy was tired of getting speeding tickets," she told Ebony magazine in a 1975 interview. She goes on, "And one day, while they were driving past a small airport, they saw a plane landing. Daddy decided that was for us." She soloed in a Piper J3 Cub, and later the family acquired its own plane, a single-engine Piper Cherokee 180D for weekends and vacations. They dubbed it the Little Golden Hawk. Quote, "We called ourselves Brown's United Airlines," she said. "I used to ask if I could use the plane like other kids asked for the family car." All right, now we're going to share from blackhistory.com. In 1978, Jill E. Brown Hiltz was hired as a pilot for Texas International Airlines, making her the first African-American woman pilot at a major airline. But it didn't always look like her dreams could come true. Growing up in Baltimore, Maryland, she always wanted to fly more than anything else. But she ended up graduating with a degree in home economics and began teaching. Sounds like most stories. All right, in 1974, Brown enlisted in the U.S. Navy, where she was admitted into the Navy's flight training program. She was the first African-American woman in the program, but felt the Navy wasn't for her. After 6 months, she was honorably discharged. Her next job was at Wheeler Airlines, where she worked her way up from a ticket counter clerk to pilot, logging enough hours as a pilot to qualify for a job at a major airline. Texas International Airlines later hired Brown as a pilot when she was just 28 years old, and she made history. However, because she believed that she was only hired because of her race, she decided to only stay with the airline for a year. It's estimated that African-American women only make up about 0.01% of all commercial pilots in the country. Brown was definitely a pioneer in a field that is still dominated by white men. Because of her early accomplishments, Brown continues to inspire many other Black and minority women who aspire to be pilots as well. But her success has not always been easy. For example, in 1990, Brown sued United Airlines for discrimination because she applied 3 times and was never hired. The lawsuit was unsuccessful, but it opened the doors for her to advocate for others who are victims of discrimination in the airline industry. And we'll leave that one right there. I thought that this was really cool because I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's a Black woman. She's in Miami, and she's training to become a pilot. And I was like, that's not something that's not something you see every day. And then I thought, why isn't that something that you see every day? That should be just as normal as everything else, or at least there should be a more frequent occurrence, right? Because I'll see a Black doctor, female doctor, I'll see, you know what I mean? Enough to be like, okay, I should see it more, but at least I see it. I know it exists. This was the first time I ever saw any Black woman even attempting to fly. And so I thought we should do a little research on the first, and the first does exist, and she is a pioneer, and we are glad that we got to celebrate her. She did pave the way, and yeah, so we'll leave it right there.